one came up to and they videotape it, so they have to do it. And like one dude did it, and he went up to somebody that was next to like a group of chicks and was like, "Hey, fish it." And he's like, "Dude, come on." And he's like, "Fish it, fish it." And he just was like, "Whatever." Turned his hat around and flopped like a fish into like a group of women and stuff. Oh, it's freaking hilarious.
Matt, you want to hop
They did
on?
it into like a public pond or like a wishing pond that has the money in it, the change in it, stuff.
That's
It was pretty
actually,
cool.
I love things like that, man. All right, wait, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, you know what? You could absolutely hop on. So, Jax, it looks like we got a third today.
What kind of flavor is this?
That's Daddy's flavor. You don't need to drink Daddy's stuff.
Oh, that looks.
All right, so Jax, give me 1 second. I'm gonna call you in a different chat. We're just gonna move over.
I gotta go get you.
Are you?
That is not quite done.
Is it easy for you to move over one, or no?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got my phone's in the other room. So
All right.
just go ahead and call me in the other one.
Done and done. Matt, I should have made it very easy for you. Just answer your phone. I'm calling you now. Did I make that easy for you? Matt, sound check 1 2.
What? Hold on.
Hey, you're coming in very low.
Oh.
Better now, or
Yeah, better now. What's up, my friend?
Right there.
So we got a guest.
That's the spot, Maddie. That's the spot right there.
It's a party.
Feature Matt. Huzzah!
How's it going?
Same shit, different day.
Well,
Jax is
first
making
of all,
spaghetti.
I want to
I'm
say
drinking
I'm
tall
happy
boys.
to be on the show.
We're happy to have you.
How's everyone doing this wonderful Monday?
Can't complain.
Fantastic. My kids were sick. I stayed home for the day.
I got a cavity filled. My dog got groomed. So yeah, very different wavelengths. Jax, I'm sorry to hear about your kids. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
They went to the doctor. My daughter's got a cold. My son is perfectly normal now. They're just playing I don't know, Minecraft or some video game or shit.
About to eat
Whatever
some
the
good
kids
spaghetti.
do these days, you know.
Yeah. But we have a very short show today. We only have 4 matches, and I actually was able to watch them all today. Today I was able to watch them all and take notes. There goes my pen. It's a catastrophe. But let's get right into it. And guys, I'm gonna start with Koji versus Anti. So we see Anti lead the Indeedee
This was a decent one.
Yeah, I'd say before we get into it, guys, I just want to say 3 out of 4 of the matches were absolutely spectacular this week. Like, so much fun
I
to
have
watch.
a slightly different view.
You did? I
Not
guess.
gonna lie.
I guess all 4. I guess all 4 because we'll get into that.
Oh no, I'm in the other direction, kind of.
Oh really?
Yeah, but we'll go.
So we see Indeedee Dragapult versus Koji, Zong, and Clefairy. Anti Dynamax's Dragapult turn 1, and I thought this was going to be good for Anti. Clef helping hands of Zong. Anti tricks a choice scarf onto the Clef and steel pikes the Clefairy, KOing it. Zong heavy slams, did like 60% into the Indeedee. Koji comes in with Crocorock, then protects it, and Indeedee ally switches the Pult spot, and it steel spiked the Crocorock through protect. And then, did I not write Bronzong set Trick Room? I think Bronzong set Trick Room there. I'm not sure. Maybe it didn't. Anti withdrew the Indeedee for Lando. Koji Dynamaxes Crocorock. Zong heavy slams into Lando. Darkness attacks into the Lando and does not get the KO. This was huge, and this was a huge learning moment in the game where Koji's like, oh, now I know that because of the Intimidate drop. Isn't going to get the KO. Pult Phantasms the Zong, and it gets, we see the Ghost Resist Berry here. Then the Pult is out of Dynamax, protects, and the Zong is expanding forces, barely missing the KO onto Lando. Lando KOs the Zong with Earthquake and does a nice chunk into Crocodile. I keep saying that Pokemon's name wrong, and I'm sorry. And Crocodile
it's
KOs.
It's in the evolution line. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know why. I just never played Black and White or whatever game it's in. So Crocodile KOs the Lando, getting a Moxie boost here, which I thought was huge. Koji then sends out the Celesteela. Anti sends out the Aegislash. Aegislash Sacred Swords into the Krokorok, activating the Chopo Berry. These resist berries on Koji's, and you love to see it. Celesteela then Flamethrowers doing like 60% to the Aegislash. And, oh my god. Then the Citrus Berry comes out. Pult goes down to a max darkness, and Didi comes in for anti. The Croc protects next turn. Anti Sacred Swords. Celesteela Flash Cannons, and Indeedee misses the KO. Indeedee Mystical Fire. Oh, and Indeedee survived. Celesteela misses the KO. Indeedee Mystical Fired into Celesteela. Then the next turn, Indeedee ally switches. Croc lashes out, KOing Indeedee. Celesteela Flash Cannon doing little to the Aegislash, and the Aegislash KOs the Krokorok. Celesteela Flamethrowers KOing the Aegislash, ending game 1. So I thought that was a good game 1. I thought Anti had the early game lead, and Koji was able to take in the end game. And you don't see, like, I thought the Pult into the Clef Zong was going to be good for Anti, but it ended up being good for Koji, which I thought was interesting. In game 2, we see.
So I would say that Koji
Jax,
has the matchup advantage in that particular grouping almost every time.
You
So
think?
I just kind of wanted to put my input on that. So I didn't help too much with Koji's prep, but I do know I played a couple of games with him the day of, and I know the one thing he was concerned of the most was the Clef and Dragapult lead. So if there was going to be anything he was going to be prepared for, it was going to be that type of lead. No matter what, he would have some type of answer because he throughout. I don't know how many times he practiced with Haney, but that was a good lead that he wanted to kind of exploit, and it worked out for him game 1, obviously.
And Koji actually told me you helped him a lot. He didn't have his team until 6 hours before the match. Yummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guy.
No, that's so funny.
You're fine.
It's adorable.
So the one team that he did have, it just didn't do very well, and he was frustrated in the beginning. But when he showed me the new pace, I'm like, wow, you really did change a lot. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was a little concerned because here it is Sunday afternoon, and, the game is going to be played in a couple hours. So I don't know how much practice he was going to get in, but, that just tells you how good Koji is as a player and how much he puts into the prep.
Koji treats this like a part-time job. He puts more effort into this job than I do selling fat guy clothes on the weekends. It's incredible to see. It's absolutely incredible to see. And yeah, so want me to go through the transcript of game 2, or you guys got anything else to say? I wrote down the transcript of every game, I guess. That's a little too much, but I'm having fun with it.
I thought the game 1 was probably the closest of the 3.
See, I thought Koji was going to win game 2. All right, so we see the Indeedee Pult lead again from Anti. We see the Clefairy and Zong from Koji. Clefairy follows me, taking the scarf from the Indeedee again. Pult Phantom Forces disappearing. Clef follow me's again. Indeedee ally switches and does like 60% into the Clef. And the Zong heavy slammed into the now Dragapult slot after the ally switch. Clef switches out for the Krokorok. Pult protects. Zong heavy slams Indeedee, and expanding force doesn't affect Croc and does very little to the Bronzong. Then we see the Pult switch out for Lando. He gets the Intimidate off, and Koji maxes a Croc. Zong heavy slams into the Indeedee. Mystical Fire into Zong. Darkness doesn't KO Lando again. Oh no, Zong heavy slammed the Lando, and then Darkness into Lando. It does the same amount as it did game 1. Crazy. Indeedee ally switches then. Lando U-turns and the Fable comes in. Indeedee gets knocked out by Krokorok's Mac Darkness, and the Moxie activates, negating the Intimidate drop. Clefable then follows me. Pult Dynamaxes and Steel Spikes, KOing the Clefairy. Krokorok quakes the Clefable spot, doing like 75%, which Koji was surprised by. Bronzong comes in for Koji. Clefable. Oh, shit. What's Helm? I wrote Clefable. Oh, Helping Hand. Zong ally switches. Phantom Force KOs the Croc, and the Celesteela comes in next. Clefable Helping Hand Max Phantasm into Zong, and it KOs it through the berry. Celesteela KOs the Clefable, and it's a 2 vs 1 Lando vs Celesteela. The Pult Phantom Forces Lando rock slides, Celesteela flash cannons KO Landers, and I didn't know the Phantom Force was going to KO even though Selly was -1 defense. But the Phantom Force from Dragon Ball comes in, KO Celesteela, and Anti takes game 2 in a dominant fashion, I would say. I thought Koji, played very well game 2, but Anti was just... That Dragon Pult's huge, man. And, Matt, I'll cut it to you first, and then Jax, we'll go to you after.
So yeah, game 2 was I wouldn't say surprising, because like I said, Anti's team just on paper did very well into Koji's team, and I know talking to Koji, he was definitely concerned just because of how well Anti did building this team to this point, and it really just came down to Anti playing well or better enough to get the win. And I think you've seen that in game 2 of how dominant this could be, which again is why that game 1 with Koji being able to kind of come back in, I guess the second half you can call it, was so pivotal because that could have easily been won game 1 with Anti if Koji doesn't make some of those moves.
Yeah. And Jax, what you got on game 2?
Kind of like Matt said, game 2, I feel like Anti did a much better job as opposed to game 1 of positioning where he used his mons to be able to go after what Koji was bringing. Maybe he keyed in on a couple of things that Koji was doing after game 1 when Koji came back in game 1 to win. That's why I said game 1 was kind of close to me because, like Matt said, Anti would have had what looked like a clear path to victory, but Koji played very well, brought it back, and was able to take the game 1 victory out. And then Anti made some adjustments, and I could kind of tell about where and when he Dynamaxed the Pult, his switch out um, with the Landorus in game 2. He was playing the positioning a lot better, which led to him having the mon advantage in the end game. And once you kind of knew that he was going to be able, when he took out the crocodile and got the mon advantage at the end of that game, it was kind of a fairly easier see of him winning in game 2, which set up a great game 3.
Amazing game 3, and let's get into it. I got it right here in my notes. All right, so Anti leads the Dragapult and the Lando. Koji leads the Crocorock and the Clefairy. So we see 2 different leads from both these coaches. Anti Dynamaxes the Pult. Koji Dynamaxes the Croc. Clefairy helping hands the Croc. Pult steel spikes the Crocorock, not the Clefairy slot, which surprised Koji. Crocorock Max Darkness does 60% into the Pult. And that's when Lando U-turns. Croc is still above 50% after the steel spike and the U-turn. Clefable comes in for the Lando. Clefairy helping hands the Croc, and Clefable follow me. Pult then steel spikes Croc again, and Croc quakes, doing 75% to Clefairy. Then we see the Clefairy helping hand again. The Clefable follow me's again. The Pult steel spikes again, and Koji lives on 3 HP. 3 HP.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that
was
after you're done with the
awesome.
notes.
That was awesome. And then Croc quakes the Clefable.
Clefable lived too.
And then the Croc quakes the Clefable and it lives. Both Dynamax ends. This was a turning point in my mind. Anti withdrew the Clefable for the Landorus, getting another Intimidate, and the Clefairy follow me's at this point, eating both Dragon Darts. That was the most pivotal turn in the match in my mind. The momentum goes into Koji's side from that point, because then Dragon Darts was the riskiest play, but Anti said in general after, I didn't know if Follow Me acted like that.
Yeah,
so
it was a bit of a throw, unfortunate.
Yeah,
you hate to see it in the playoffs, but it is what it is. At the same time, the game is still not over. But continue.
Exactly, and then we see the lash out from the Crocorock into the Lando does 40%. The Pult and the Clef both protect at this point. Lando rock slide and KOs the Croc. Zong comes in for the Crocorock slot. Clefairy follow me as the Pult Phantom forces Lando rock slides, and Zong flinches when he needs to set up the protect. Then Clefairy follow me's again. The Pult hit it with the Phantom Force. Lando rock slides again. And the Zong flinches again. Insanely unlucky how the flinches happened when they happened for Koji. Clefairy then follows me again. Pult steel spikes hitting the Clefairy, KOing it. Lando rock slides, and Zong gets the Trick Room up this time. And that's when Koji.
Wait, wasn't the Clefairy KO'd with Steel Wing?
Yeah, that's what I just said, right?
That's just Steel Spike.
He did, but we understood because the match was over before
Max was
that.
over.
But
Steel Wing,
yeah,
not Steel Spike. That's a misspeak on me. Shout out Modelo Especial. All right. And then the Pulp protects. The Zung heavy slams the Lando slot. The Celestial flash cannons into the protect, and the Lando's Earthquake just doesn't do enough. It's a 4 versus 2 Pokemon advantage for Anti at this point. But Koji set himself up nicely with the Trick Room. Pulp protects. And wait, protects again, gets a double protect. Heavy slams, Lando KOs it. Celesteela flash cannons into the protect, and Alakazam comes in for Anti. The Zong heavy slams the Alakazam, barely missing the KO where I missed the Focus Sash. It KOs Celesteela. Oh no. And then Celesteela KOs Pult with Flash Cannon. Alakazam expanding force doing very little. And Clefable comes in at 1 HP. Alakazam is like at 1 HP. And Koji wins with a heavy slam from Bronzong and a flash cannon from Celesteela. And it was a great freaking set. Holy shit, that was a good match. Game 3 was so intense, and once it was a lot of switching, but once Clefable came in with 1 HP, yeah, this is the first of the 4 matches. Yours is next, I believe. Let me double check. But yeah, no, this is the first of the 4. Yours is next, and we just finished Game 3, and I'm going to kick it to Jax first on this. What do you got on this Game 3, Jax? I thought it was incredible.
Game 3 was great. Extremely unfortunate the misplay by Anti. A little anticlimactic at the end. That's why I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that it was too incredibly good because at the end, Koji had put him or mid game. Koji had put himself after the 2 flinches on that Bronzong, which Anti was already extremely lucky enough to get those off. After he was able to get that Trick Room off, it was basically a 4 to 5 turn counter for Anti on your whole team's about to get blown up because Koji, and I think you even in the chat both said that Tom said that he was in a real good position.
Yeah, I thought
as soon as he got that Trick Room up because he knew he was going to underspeed everything.
Yeah.
And for what Anti brought to the fight, unless it was the Aegis Slash, that's the only thing he could really needed to worry about at all. That was going to be in the back, that was sitting there. He knew he was going to KO what was in front of him. It was just a matter of time. And he knew as long as that Trick Room could stay up long enough for him to still have 2 slow Pokemon on the field, that he's going to KO what's in the back. You know what I mean? But I think all around, really well played by Koji. I think he definitely did his homework in the short time that he did prep and make the team that he did. He did really well, deserved the win.
And Matt, what you got on this one?
So I want to say calcs do matter. I repeat, calcs do matter because, like you said, with the maxing, Clefable living on like 4 HP, Crocodile living on 4 HP. I mean that you don't see that all the time. It's usually a 2-shot, hit or quitter at the end of the day. But I want to say the Game 3 was a tale of two tapes, I guess, because I felt like Anti in the beginning. It felt comfortable. It looked like he was doing what he wanted to do.
Right.
Unfortunately, the Dragon Darts did kind of play a big part. I don't know if it played a big part because remember, after that he did get 2 rock slide flinches.
Well, see,
so
that's what I'm saying. He would have had more damage onto the Bronzong if he had done anything else, or he would have done more damage into Clefairy. I mean, since Clefairy followed me, right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, exactly, and that's kind of. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a really good Game 3 to watch.
Yeah.
Hats off to Koji and Anti. I mean, you hate to see someone lose this game, but someone has to win this game. But at the end of the day, Koji played great, and that's why he is going to the conference finals.
Shout out the conference finals. And yeah, Jax, do you got anything else on this one before we move on?
No, I think it was a great set.
Great set. Yeah.
I'm pretty happy that Koji made it as far as he is making it. That shows how much he really turned his season around from last season to this season. I'm excited to see what he does against his prep partner next week.
And let's get into his prep partners match. That's a great segue. Behaney versus KD.
I'm good
Behaney
with
was
those
able to get the
mainly.
2-1 victory. All right, so we got a Zapdos Blastoise lead for Behaney. We got an Accelgor Lele lead for KD. We see the special defense boost Accelgor from the Psychic Seed too. We see the Max Lele turn 1 and the Acid Spray to lower the special defense by 2. Onto the Zap. The Eerie Impulse lowers Lele's special attack by 2, but then the Lele gets a critical hit and KO Zapdos. Oh my fucking god! Comfey comes in like that was a lot. That was a lot for a turn 1. Then, what's it called? Comfey comes in, Giga Drains the Blastoise, activating the weakness policy. Accelgor acid sprays the Comfey. Lele Mindstorms it, KOing it. Blastoise cannonades the Accelgor, missing the KO. Accelgor, yawns Blastoise. And Behaney's like, this is bad. Lele Mindstorms, he's like, I just want to get information. That's like what he was saying at this point. Spoiler alert, he ended up winning the game. But Lele Mindstorms the Mudsdale then. And, it just, I can't read what I wrote. Then Steel Spike barely misses the KO onto Lele, but the Muds cleaned it up with Iron Head. Accelgor goes down to the cannonade damage, and Silvally, Ghost, and Cinderace come out for KD. The Cinderace protects, Silvally Swords Dance, cannonades into the protect, and Mudsdale gets a lash out off onto the Silvally Ghost, and it actually did less than I thought. That's when we see the Blastoise fall asleep from the yawn earlier. And Cinderace Super Fangs, which is a very unique move on Cinderace. You don't see Super Fang a lot, so I love to see it here. Then we see Shadow Claw barely missed a KO on Mudsdale because he had so many stamina boosts at this point. Mudsdale KOs the Silvally. Blastoise stays asleep for this turn, and the cannonade damage just adds up. Cinderace Pyro Balls the Mudsdale, getting the KO. Blastoise stayed asleep. Cinderace Super Fangs again. Blastoise wakes up, Dark Pulse gets the KO. Behaney wins game 1. Holy moly, that was a fun game 1. And Jax, I'm going to kick it to you first. What do you got on this game 1?
This was a pretty awesome match. I love this game 1. Like you said, a lot of action coming out of the gate. I thought it was quite interesting that in the recording, Behaney was actually talked about how he specifically prepped for this lead.
Yeah.
Because it was something that does a lot of damage into his team, and he knew that. And then it came out, and shout out to KD for, even though he had prepped for it and knew it was kind of coming, being able to do the damage even with the crit, which was unfortunate right off the jump on the Zapdos taking it out. But being able to get that damage off, looked like he was out of it. What a comeback!
What a comeback
Really, I have
return.
to start calling Behaney like the comeback kid, because he he gets out here and he'll go down a game or something like that. He always makes adjustments, whether it's in game or out of game. He talks about it each and every week, and this week was nothing but the exact same that happened. And I was really hyped when he ended up coming out with the victory, staying in it, not giving up, not quitting, and putting time in to at least even get like you said, to even try to like find information out and weed stuff out, and then boom, comes out with the wit. It was pretty awesome.
And yeah, Matt, what you got on this one?
So I'd like to think that I have a decent relationship with KD. We do a lot of talking, and as he helps me prep a lot this season. So shout out KD. But he told me that this game between him and Behaney, it was either going to be a 2-0 or an 0-2. So right off the bat, seeing KD lose the first game, I'm like, oh no, Behaney may just go ahead and beat him 2-0. Obviously, we know it goes to a game 3. But just the adjustment by Behaney against someone like KD, I mean, you love to see it. I mean, you're talking about two really good players. Behaney is just a really good drafter, really good player.
Yes,
And outside of like the
that's an
drafting
understatement.
world, KD does have a mark on VGC itself. I mean, he is. I've watched him play numerous of big time streamers. So you got that feel that one of these guys we're going to make maybe one or two plays that kind of turn the whole game around, and that's kind of what you've seen in game 1, where it felt like KD had control, and then Behaney had a couple of moves, and then all of a sudden you're like, what just happened? But you have to enjoy it. I definitely enjoy watching this type of game.
Dude, it was so much fun to watch as like a viewer. I missed it live. I had to go back and I wanted to participate in the chat. There were some things I was like, "Fuck, I can't."
Technically, we all missed it live.
Yeah, it was like late night too. I woke up
Yeah.
in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh,
No,
this
not
game's going on.
Jax is
He
right.
had
He
recorded it.
pre-recorded it
Yes.
before he uploaded it to
Yeah.
Twitch, so it wasn't live. It was only live for Behaney and KD. So it was pre-recorded when it was uploaded live to Twitch.
Correct. He wanted to,
So I
put some
missed it
commentary.
live, and I missed the pre-recording release live.
Oh, okay.
And then I had to watch a VOD back today, and I got my notes.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I missed game 1. So when I watched game 2, the way B. Haney was commentating, he made it sound like he already went down in game 1, and I'm like, okay, is this game 1 or game 2? I was really confused. I'm like, oh no, this is game 3. So,
Wait,
I was
but
like, okay,
let's get into
this is
game
game
2.
3. Yeah.
Game 2 was what's it called? Game 2 was one of my favorite ones actually of all season. The way KD had a plan and used it, and he's like, all right. Spoiler alert, he didn't use it again game 3. But he's like, I could use this at least once and try this out, and it might work. And boy, did I think it worked. So he leads Cicino and Spectrier. He leads versus the Behaney's Mudsdale and Mindshout. Behaney hard switches into the Grimmsnarl from the Mudsdale. KD maxes Spectrier, flings a Landsat berry from the Chinchino, increasing the critical hit ratio. And the next thing you know, it activates the weakness policy. He gets a crit Phantasm onto Grimmsnarl, KOs it, and Spec is +3 because of the Grim Nay. And what's it called? Mindshout then KOs the Chinchino, which actually, Beanie's like, that's very good for KD. That's very good for KD. But then we see Cinderace come in for KD, and Zapdos come in for Beanie. Mindshout ally switches, Zapdos goes first, Eerie Impulse, Spec Max strikes, gets a crit, KOs the Zapdos. Oh my god. Then we see Cinderace Pyro Ball, and activates Mindshout's Sash. Mudsdale comes back in, and there's not much Behaney could do at this point. Behaney maxes the Mudsdale, and Spectrier max guards. Cinderace Pyro Balls KOs the Mindshout. Shadow Ball does a nice chunk to Mud. Cinderace Super Fangs the Mud again. Mud is +2 defense. Mac Darkness KOs the Spec. Lele comes in for KD. Cinderace protects. Lele protects. Mud returns to normal. Cinderace Iron Heads. Lele Psychics, and it does enough to KO the Mud. Oh my god. And Matt, I'm going to kick it to you first on this one. What you got for game 2?
So I will say this. I want to say it was probably back in maybe week 5. I think KD was playing someone that had a Grimmsnarl, and he mentioned to me that he has a Grimmsnarl quote unquote tech. So I'm assuming that's what that was that we seen in game 2. Because I've been trying to get that information out of him. So I'm definitely going to go back and watch game 2 and see, because I know Grimmsnarl is such a bastard to take down.
Max
So
Phantasm critical hit +2 from Spec KO'd it.
Yeah. So I mean that is a lot of work to put in, but at the same time, I think as crazy as it sounds, like KD definitely had that calculated. Like,
oh yeah,
just the way I know he preps, and I don't want to spoil anything, but like he has a lot of that stuff calculated. So does B Haney. So just like again, like each game you're going to watch in these conference finals in the last couple of playoff games, like everything is pretty much calculated where they know what they want to do. Those are the buttons. Everything is kind of predetermined. It's just more of who's going to make that in-game adjustment. And that's what you're kind of witnessing now between B. Haney and KD.
It's fucking incredible, man. And Jax, what you got on this one? Sorry to curse. All right, so Jax is muted. And Matt, if you don't got anything else on game 2, oh, Jax is back.
Oh, my bad.
No, so Jax, what you got for game 2?
I'm eating my fault.
No, it's enjoy your spaghetti. I'm sorry if you want to hop off. We got Matt.
Oh, I'm not eating spaghetti.
Okay,
that's my dog. Don't worry, it's not neither here nor there. All right, but this was probably my favorite tech of the entire weekend. I love that. The fling Landsat berry to proc policy plus enhance the crit potential. It did. You could see in the game it did so much work.
Put in work.
Being able to crit almost every turn. And I definitely saw another route that I thought he might take in game 3. He didn't end up doing it. with the Spectre Fling combo as well, which I think would have benefited him a little bit. But he was doing so much work. I was kind of excited to see if he would bring the same thing in Game 3, because being able to get the mon advantage
Yeah.
on Haney like he did this game 2
Yeah.
was huge. You know, it's absolutely huge in endgame, especially when you're playing with against somebody that has such bulky ability. And he did great work in Game 2, being able to get ahead and then ultimately finish the game at the end.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. It was incredible to see. It really this strategy was one of those ones I was like, is he gonna bring it back in Game 3? You know, that's what I was thinking.
Uh-huh. I
But
was hoping. For a reason, I'll let you. I'll say it after you're done with the Game 3.
all right, so let's get right into Game 3. How many pages is it? 1.5. Oh no, one and like an eighth. All right. So we see Lele and Elselgor lead from the KD. From KD. We see Blastoise and Zapdos from the Behaney. In turn 1, Lele protects, Elselgor yawns to Zapdos. Blastoise and Zapdos both attack into the Lele protect. Zapdos wanted to Eerie Impulse it. Blastoise wanted to, I forget what it, and then, steals Flash Cannon, I believe. Then the Zap comes out, Hard Switch in Grimmsnarl. Elselgor Struggle Bugs, lowering Blastoise special attack and doing some damage into Grim. It didn't do a lot, but it was like, oh, this is interesting. Then Behaney, Flash Cannon, crits the Lele, does like 60%. Super unlucky for KD is what I wrote. Blastoise switches out for Zap. Grim light screens, so Behaney gets the light screen up. Elselgor acid sprays, the Lele moon blasts, and what's it called? Even with the Roselli Berry and the light screen, because of the -2, Lele gets a KO here. Blastoise comes in, Lele protects. Blastoise protects. Elselgor yawns, and Zapdos airstreams, but doesn't get the KO onto Elselgor, which I was surprised by. I think it was because of the Psychic Seed. Elselgor then struggle bugs again, dies from the airstream. Blastoise KOs Lele with Flash Cannon. Cinccino and Spectrier come in from KD. Spectrier Max is here for KD, but after the airstream, Zapdos and Blastoise were both quicker. So Zapdos airstreamed, and Behaney did something I thought was kind of risky, but he was like, Hydro Cannon definitely KOs. I'm not sure about the other moves, so I'm going to Hydro Cannon and risk the miss. If that missed, Cinccino does a berry thing, gets the Spectre set up, and boom. But then Hydro Cannon cleans up the Cinccino. Max Strike from Spectre does nothing into Behaney, and this game was over. And Jax, I'm going to go to you first. What you got on Game 3?
See, this was an interesting Game 3 because after Game 2, you could see how well the tech with the Lamzat Berry and the Spectria worked into Behaney's team. So I was actually thinking that he was going to lead that same thing and then have Excelgor in the back because he's going to be generally faster other than a Zapdos, which he should have already known was Scarf after the game 1, which wouldn't have been able to take down the Cinccino. He still would have been able to fling the Lancet Berry, still would have been able to boost up and boost the critical hit chance on the Spectre. If Behaney would have tried to basically cancel out the weakness policy boost by Eerie Impulsing, then no damage would have went on the Cinccino. He could have used the Spectre to take out said Zapdos so it couldn't lower his rates anymore. Probably would have crit. If he would have crit Max into a Zapdos, it's probably taking it out. You know what I mean?
Dude, that strike did nothing
Then he
Game
would have
3.
had.
It was nuts.
Then he would have had an advantage with the crit Max move into the Zapdos. He could have brought in Excelgor after that and started acid spraying down all of Behaney's Pokemon to get effectively the +2 boost back. You know what I mean? And at that point, he's going to be faster than anything else Behaney has. But he ended up bringing it sort of the reverse direction because I think it would have been kind of clutch if he would have been able to conserve. I mean, yeah, he would have, for what I'm saying, maxed early with the Spectre and everything. But one of the major things that Behaney was worried about was that Lele, and he would have been able to preserve that Lele to the bitter end.
Yeah.
And that Lele, if it had the energy ball on it, would have nuked Blastoise.
Yeah.
It would have taken out half of Behaney's team, aside from the Zapdos. But if he could have got the Fling, Lansac, Crit Berry, and started hitting the Zapdos, then the Zapdos would have been voided out anyway, which would have been, I think, would have been a stronger path to victory for him. I mean, I can't hate on the way he plays. He's Katie's a phenomenal player, so obviously he went into it with a different mindset into game three. Probably figured that Behaney might lead something somewhat different other than what he led with, because it was extremely unfortunate for him that Behaney was able to get the speed boost off
Behaney played awesome,
ahead
man.
of him getting
It was
the
nuts.
the Spectrier in there, being able to do work. Yeah, Behaney did a great job. Once again, made adjustments, knew what he needed to do.
The Airstreams
Especially, I
to
think
take that speed
mid-game, he
control.
knew that the speed advantage was going to be huge. And yeah, the Airstreams, once you get those Airstreams going and he could know he could be faster, that in the end game was gonna be the win con for him, and that's what he did, and that's how he won. It was great, man.
It was phenomenal to see. And Matt, what you got on this one?
Yeah, so I mean, Jax kind of pretty much took the ball and ran with it and scored the touchdown.
He does that every
Hypothetically
time.
speaking.
I love it
Yeah,
I love having
yeah,
him as a co-host.
yeah. No, he broke everything down the way. And just seeing in the chat, Haney kind of mentioned like his only win con was to go for that cannon. Because if he doesn't go, because he needed to get the KO. I would have said in the beginning that was a risky play, but at the end of the day, like if that's his only win con, you have to go with it. You're not, unless there was another play, which I don't think there was. It turned out for him. I'm just trying to think like if that cannon doesn't land, like are we talking about a whole different game? Are we talking
Yes.
about KD moving on
Yes.
to the conference finals
We
and
are.
not be Haney?
Yes,
So
we are.
at the end of the day, you're talking about anything less than 100% accuracy is going to be 50-50. You take the 50-50 shot and you just hope that it lands, and it did. And now look where we are.
It's 90% accurate. So yeah. It's less than heat wave. But
Yep.
fuck heat wave. All right, so fellas, we got anything else before we move on to the other side of the other side of the league, the other conference?
This was an awesome match.
Amazing.
KD played great all season.
Yes.
I was actually kind of surprised that he lost this one until I watched it back, because I wasn't awake to see it when Behaney played it back. But very well played by both competitors. Like I said, um, KD played like a monster all season. Had a really great team. I know he's going to come back great. Can't wait to see what Koji against Behaney is going to look like. These
Yeah.
two prepped like animals, man.
Yep. And I wanted to say that. So my heart wanted KD to win because I wanted to see KD and Koji battle it out.
Yeah,
I
we all
wanted to
did.
see that
We
match.
all did.
We all kind of
My
did.
yeah,
We all
yeah.
did. Like I said
My
last week, selfishly, I wanted
The
KD and
storyline.
Koji.
The story writes
exactly.
itself.
Yep, yep. It doesn't get any better than that. The Jets Patriots. Can't wait
Sorry,
scenario.
Behaney.
Um, but at the end of the day, Behaney has continued to just
Dominance.
dominate and just be who he is. But I will say this: my heart wanted that to wanted KD to win, but my mind wanted Behaney to win because I am going to be prepping with Koji for this week because Behaney and Koji prep together. So now they can't prep together with this game being on the line. So I get to get a little insight on this match and kind of go from there. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
just know Koji is going to be ready and he wants to silence a lot of the doubters. And I want to see him win a championship. I think he deserves it. He's put in a lot of time. I want to see Koji win it all.
He was 2-7 last season. So like the turnaround is amazing to see. It's like a feel good Disney movie. The story writes itself. I'm saying that a lot. And who's gonna prep with you, Behaney? I got time. I'm probably gonna do mediocre prep at best, but I'll be there. I'm a body, and I can breathe. So huzzah! I can't stay up past 1 a.m. though, and football's tonight. And also, all right, I think, do we got anything else before we move on? Because these are two amazing coaches. We could talk about them all day.
Yeah, let's go on to the next because we still got two other amazing coaches that are in the conference finals on the other side.
So I wrote Snom forfeited. I don't know if that's harsh or not, but he didn't Dynamax game one. Let's just get into it, and you'll see why I wrote that.
Okay.
So we see the Indeedee and Hatterene lead for Jade versus Darman and the Tornadus for Snom. Two of the what's it called? Bring the Modelos. Hey, shout out Modelo. I love it. All right, we see Indeedee Hat. We see Darm Torn. So two of their favorite leads all season. All right, my hair's starting to look crazy. Then we see Psychic Seed from the Hatterene. Indeedee goes first, and actually Expanding Force does a lot. Dark Pulse from Tornadus does a bunch to Indeedee. Earthquake from Darmanitan gets a KO into the Indeedee, does a lot of damage to Hat, but Hat gets the Trick Room up. I wrote Snarl comes in for the... oh, Grimmsnarl comes in for the Indeedee slot. Hatterene gets a double KO with Expanding Force on the Darmanitan and the Tornadus. Jade maxes the Grimmsnarl, and it's a normal form, not the G-Max the next turn. The Hatterene Dazzling Gleams, Grimmsnarl Darknesses, KO is the Poltergeist, Lele Calm Minds, and Snom forfeit before he, Dynamaxed. So, like, that was kind of a crazy. I thought he still had his Dynamax left. There were only 2 turns of Trick Room, so you protect, Dynamax, take a hit, and try to reverse KO. I didn't think it was over yet. So I thought he quit early. Team never quit. We saw a bunch of coaches say, Koji and Behaney both said, this is over. I think I lost this game and ended up winning game 1. So you never know what could happen. And Matt, I'll go to you first. You got anything on this game 1?
So I did not see these two play as much as I wanted to. I'm very surprised, like you writing that down and how it turned out. I'm not sure. I did reach out to Snom beforehand and see if he wanted to prep. I don't know how much prep he actually got in. I do know he's fairly busy, and him being on the West Coast, so I don't know if he had a game plan going into game one, and if it didn't work out the way he wanted it to right off the bat, he was automatically going to pivot to, okay, let's get ready for game two. But, as you know, like that's not the way to do things. I don't think Snom had that mindset of going that way, but that's just kind of how it played out. I was definitely looking forward to this match because I want to say they played back in week 3 or week 4, and it came down to a game 3 between Snom and Jade. So,
right,
Jade is a really good player. Snom is crazy than anyone else. So I was definitely
awesome.
Expecting Snom to say, you know what, I'm going to go all out.
He's a moderator on my channel. He's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
he's amazing.
Listening to you, he kind of went kind of conservative. So I don't know if it was just like, trust the devil, like I feel comfortable with these players. I feel comfortable with these mons. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. But I was definitely expecting a crazier set with Snom, especially in my matchup with him in the playoffs. I was expecting something crazy because you never know with Snom.
And then Jax, what do you got on this game 1?
This was
streamed
kind
on
of
your
interesting,
channel,
right? Because all season, Jade hasn't used the Indeedee Hat combo. We'd actually talked about this on stream because I streamed his match for him. He hasn't used the Hat and Indeedee combo like everybody uses the Hat and Indeedee combo.
Since
you know what I mean?
1.
There's never the threat of there's always the threat, but he never really uses Hat for Trick Room. He usually has it extremely offensive, spec, whiteboard, stuff like that.
Timeout. I want to shout out week 2 when he led Indeedee Hatterene. I led Imprison, Expanding Force, Trick Room, Sigalith, and I still lost because he's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, he pivoted. Yeah, he did pivot around that too. Yeah. But you did shut that down. You did shut that
and
down.
That's so he does. I think
Tom.
it was since then. So shout out me. But Jax, continue. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just time in.
He specifically on the stream said that he was upset at the fact that Hat was the KO leader on his team because even when he drafted both of those Pokemon, he did not want them to be the typical version of themselves that everybody uses, which is something that Jade kind of prides himself on in his teams, right? He doesn't use the Pokemon that he uses the conventional way, the way that everybody expects the Pokemon to be used. So when you prep for Jade, you kind of have to prep for that, but you also have to prep for an off the wall way that a Pokemon can be played, right? So you kind of have to think, how can this Pokemon be used that no one ever really uses it for? You know what I mean? Um, However, this week when he went into it, he gave up the item on the hat with the psychic seed. He had a really complex EV spread on it. Like he had investment on I think almost everything but the special defense, but the psychic seed boosted his special defense anyway.
Amazing.
So the turn one when he was able to eat the damage that was taken
from the earthquake,
it was calculated, just like Matt was saying. It was calculated to be able to take specific hits from both Pokemon at certain levels. Um, which is once the Hatterene was able to live and he was able to get that Trick Room off, it was all but over, unfortunately, for Snom at that point, because Jade knew once he got the Trick Room off, the Pokemon that were in front of him, he was going to be able to take those Pokemon out the next turn. He knew that for a fact. He knew coming in, he had to take out the threat of his Trick Room being reversed. As long as he could stay in Trick Room, he was going to win. He was able to do that on the next turn by taking out the Sinistea. And once that happened, I feel like Snom kind of knew that it was over
yeah,
because he didn't have any way for any of his Pokemon,
to
his
reverse the
one
Trick Room.
Pokemon at that point, the Lele, to be able to go first. And you're staring down the barrel of a 3v1 with a max Pokemon on your side of the field. Even with your max, it's going to be hard to come back from.
It is. It is. It is. And you guys want to get into game two?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
for it.
let's
It was
do
a
it.
quick one.
So yeah, game two, Jade leads the Indeedee Hatterene again into Snom's Tangrowth and Poltergeist this time. Let me cough. Tangrowth protects. Indeedee Expanding Force does like 50% into Poltergeist. Poltergeist Dark Pulse does like 60% into Indeedee. Hatterene then gets a Trick Room up, and Jade switches in the Quillfish for the Indeedee. Hatterene Expanding Forces KOs the Poltergeist. Tangrowth knockoff, and Tornadus comes in, and then Snom quit. So that was the game, and I was confused. Like I didn't think it was over.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
Matt, I'm gonna kick it to you
Yeah, it
first.
was a turn two concede, unfortunate.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I said, let's see. Like I don't know what happened. Like I would like to reach out to Snom. He might have been like just really busy. I know. Like I said, just
stuff happens
with
like that.
school and everything.
Yeah,
But I felt like if depending on how he prepped and if he actually prepped, I felt like Poltergeist could have been that saucy tech for him, especially against like a Hatterene and an Indeedee. You know, running some type of dark move or something like that going forward. I know ghost moves don't hit Indeedee, which is why he might have been kind of timid about using anything with because of all needs there.
Dark Pulse
But
did
yeah,
a nice
just
amount of damage.
what was that?
Dark Pulse did like 60%. I was impressed.
Yeah, and that's something that kind of stood out to me because I felt like if Snom did a calculation for something like that, he could have easily found something that could OHKO an Indeedee or a Hatterene. I mean, um, yeah, just kind of play it out, kind of feel it out. I think game one, if anything, because you're gonna have it, you're gonna fight another game. Like even if you take a crushing, like at least game one, you can kind of get some information and feel it out. But with him quitting so soon, you're kind of restarting everything, and now you only have one more game to kind of figure something out. And if you don't figure it out, you kind of see what happens. So
And then
it's
game 2
not.
quitting second turn. That's why I wrote he forfeited because he mentally quit after game 1. So and for Jade to put
Yeah,
all the prep in, I felt bad for. See, so that's why I am team never quit too. I'm not. I care about this league probably more than I should. I care about stuff, and it's just like I'm having a lot of fun. You hate to see someone put all this effort and energy into something and then not get to play, you know? So at least play it out for your opponent each week. That's my point of view. And yeah, so that's why after the turn 2, game 2 quit, I was like, all right, he forfeited. If you're not playing at least 3 turns, it's like a forfeit in my opinion. So I might be wrong. He's a mod. Behaney's a mod. So they gave Jade the 2-0 victory in this one. So Jade got the 2-0 victory. But I'm so excited to see Jade now have more time. Like him versus Fox is gonna be nuts. And do we got anything else to say?
Yeah.
And wait, Jax,
Yeah.
what do you got
So
on this one? Yeah.
yeah, me and Behaney were talking in my stream too, and we were both kind of thrown way into left field that after
So
turn
okay,
two,
tell me about this.
he conceded. He basically conceded the entire playoff as his season, basically. You know what I
Over
mean? I mean, we get um
being burnt out.
even I understand um in like game one or something like that, conceding so you can conceal some of your sets, your moves, your items, stuff like that. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's not my sort of thing. But I understand it. I understand that people do it. I'm not gonna like kill somebody just because they did it. You know what I mean? But when your season's basically on the line, win, lose or draw. That's it. You're not going any further. There's no next game, nothing like that. It was really surprising to me that he had conceded. It was really rough because Jade said that he had messaged him in game one and game two. So in both of the games, he had a turn. When I was streaming, I was like, he's taking a really long time to think about these moves and which way that he wants to go. He ended up timing out on both of those turns. So
Oh
that was a
wow.
contributing factor. There was basically a turning point turn in game one and game two where he ended up timing out on his moves and it just used the first thing that was available.
Which is
What
so surprising. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, you could tell I mean, the game two call with that Sinisty, it's a huge call because the trick room was the big thing. You know what I mean? Game one, it's basically what pinned Snom out was the fact that he was able to get that trick room off, and that's what won him the game. So it's a huge 50-50 call with that Sinisty of if he because he used trick room on the Sinisty with or the not Sinisty the Poltergeist the Poltergeist in our match used Trick Room. So if he had Trick Room on the Poltergeist, it's a 50-50 call on whether he can counter the Trick Room
In
that the
reverse.
Hatterene going to use, and then you still take down the Ndidi, or do what he did and attack into the Ndidi and hope that he doesn't use the Trick Room to get the speed advantage and speed control at the end of game one. Um, so thinking about it was huge, and I get everybody has turns like that in the Behaney match. There were a couple of turns where he takes a really long time to decide what he's going to do because it's such a big moment. Um, Extremely unfortunate for the timeouts.
Yeah.
But like Tom said, especially in that game one, you could have maxed, you could have stalled something out. Jade had weakness policy on the Grimmsnarl, and Snom never knew it because he quit early in that game one. He didn't try to weed anything out. All that he knew was that Grimmsnarl had a dark move at
Yeah.
that point,
Yeah.
which could have been some large information had he Dynamaxed the calm minded Lele had he used
Anything.
if it didn't obviously if it didn't get KO'd, if he used
Dazzle.
a fairy move on it, you would have known now that's an offensive weakness policy Grimmsnarl, and that would have been, like Matt said, a little bit more information going into the
Game
second
2.
game,
Yeah.
which I think would have been huge in possibly making decisions for him.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
unfortunately, it didn't go that way, and I think he knew at both points. I think he knew he was beat, and I also think he was extremely upset at himself for timing out both times.
So that rage quitting is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and it was just weird to kind of see how that played out, especially this when me and Snom played. I mean, we played a game. We played all game three. I mean, game one between me and him on Showdown. I kind of prepped for what I wanted to do. Game two, I had to kind of do something else, and it looked like I kind of had him, beat at that point, and then Tangrove kind of just tanked through it, and now we're in game three. So it's like never give up because that's kind of how it felt for Snom
Yeah,
in
I
that
agree.
game
When I was
too.
watching that between you two, I thought you had him.
Yeah, and I I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was frustrated after that game 3. I'm like, oh man, like I put this time in, but at the end of the day, like it's Snob. Like Snob's not a bad player. So to see something like this happen, yeah, it's just a little like, all
Unfortunate.
right, what's kind of going on? Like you said, if Snob didn't really think to, if he's sitting there thinking like, what do I do in this scenario, and then he times out, it's like, well, now you just kind of missed out on a potential plan. The one thing I learned just playing VGC for this past year, you never want to be in that guessing trick room, like because it feels great. It's just, I guess it's just like ally switch. Like if you guess wrong, you're effed. If you guess right, you're good. But you never want to be in that situation of guessing like, is he going to click trick room or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50s in this game are extremely rough.
Yep.
All right. And are you guys ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Let's
do it.
do it.
The last match of the week, we got Fox versus Pops. Pops versus Fox. Fox was able to take the 2-1 victory. So we see the Raichu Slowbro lead, which Pops loves. He's used it multiple times all season versus Clefairy, Clefairy and the Magnezone. Raichu swaps for Celesteela, and we see double protect for Fox, and then the Trick Room from Slowbro. Pops switches out the Slowbro for the Raichu. Fox switch out the Clef for the Umbreon. We see Celesteela and Magnezone Dynamax here. Celesteela Steel Spike does 50% to Umbreon, and Max Lightning is neutralized by the Raichu switch-in. Celesteela Steel Spikes KOing the Umbreon. Uh, uh, ah, who's Steel Spike? Uh, Magnezone Steel Spike doing like 60% to Raichu, and then Thunderbolt doesn't do a lot at all. So the Clefairy comes back in. We see it protect. Celesteela Steel Spikes into the Magnezone. Magnezone Steel Spikes Raichu, KOing the Raichu, and we see Pops bring in the Slowbro. Fox gets a double protect with Clef, which was so clutch, and also protects with the Magnezone. Slowbro Scalds and the Celesteela Flash Cannon, both attacking the Magnezone. Clefairy then helping hands. Thunderbolt then KOs the Slowbro. Celesteela Flash Cannons getting the one-hit KO. And we see Surfetch come in for Fox and Goodra come in for Pops. Surfetch protects, Selly protects, and the Zone Thunderbolts the protect. And then Thunder Punch from Goodra does nothing to the Magnezone. I think Fox thinks he won the game here because he's like, if that's Goodra's best move into, or well, yeah, if that's Goodra's best move, then that's not good into Magnezone. So then we see close combat from Surfetch get the KO into Goodra because of the critical hit. Thunderbolt from Magnezone KOs the Celesteela, and Fox was able to take the game 1. So Jax, what you got on this one?
This was quite an interesting match. I would rather talk about it after all of the games are set.
All right, done and done. Matt, you got anything before we move on to the second game? Or should I just read the second and third? I'm just going to read the second and third. All right. So Pops lead the Raichu and the Regirock versus Fox leading the Umbreon and the Lapras. Fox maxes the Lapras turn 1. Pops maxes the Regirock turn 1. We see Raichu speed swap the Rock. Oh my god. Then what's it called? Rock is now the fastest thing on the court. It Max Knuckles Umbreon doing 40%. Foul Play did a lot to Raichu because it got the attack boost, and Lapras set the resonance. And this is such. I wrote this has been an exciting turn 1. The lefties on Umbreon could be huge. Celesteela comes in for turn 2, and Selly protects. Max Raffle quakes Umbreon, bringing it below 50%. Umbreon snarls, and Lapras Max Geyser setting the rain for Pops. Pops switched out Celesteela for Credilli. Rock falls into the Umbreon slot. Foul play once more did more than I expected, and Geyser was neutralized by the Storm Drain on Credilli. Both players lose their Dynamax this turn. Fox's Umbreon protects. Rock slides, and Lapras Perish Songs this turn. Credilli max Meteor Beams, KOing the Lapras because of the Power Herb, and then Surfetch comes in for the Lapras slide. Fox switches in the Clef. Rock slides again. Uh, and Surfetch KOs Credilli with a close combat. And Fox says, all I have to do is take care of the Celesteela and I win. And spoiler alert, he loses this game. So hearing him say that was very interesting to me. So I was like very excited for the rest of this game. So now where do I start again? Yeah, super excited from this point in the battle. Clef and Surfetch both protect. Regirock rock slides and Celesteela air slashes. The rock is a last turn of perish song. Fox swaps out the Surfetch for the Umbreon. Clefairy doesn't get the double protect. Flash Cannon takes out the Clefairy. Rock Slide goes down to the perish song. Surfetch versus Clefairy 1-on-1. If Surfetch gets a critical hit with the leak, Fox wins 2-0. Surfetch did not get the critical hit. Celesteela is able to air slash it, KO the Surfetch after it eats a close combat. And that's how Game 2 ended. We're on to Game 3. We see Fox lead the Clefairy and the Lapras. Pops lead the Slowbro Celesteela. Fox switches out both Pokemon and switches in Umbreon into the Lapras slot and Magnezone into the Clefairy slot. Pops Dynamaxes the Celesteela and Steel Spikes the Umbreon, which was the Lapras and Slowbro Trick Room. Fox calls the no Raichu switch in. Max Lightnings the Celesteela. Raichu didn't switch in. Umbreon protects. Slowbro Scalds does not get the burn, and Celesteela Steel Spikes the protect. Then Magnezone Max Lightning the Steeler, bringing it to red. Fox switches in the lap for Umbreon. Slowbro scalds the lap and gets the burn this time. Celesteela Rock Falls Lapras, KOing it, and KOs the Slowbro, and Magnezone KOs the Slowbro. Credilli then comes in for Pops. Umbreon comes in for Fox. Umbreon protects. Credilli Earth Powers doing a ton to Magnezone. Celesteela Flash Cannons. Umbreon's protect. Magnezone KOs Credilli with Steel Spike. Raichu comes in for Pops. Shocked Fox because he's like, why wouldn't he switch it in earlier? So then Fox switches in Clef for Umbreon. Raichu fake out to the Umbreon slot, which is now Clef, and Flash Cannons a Clef, KOing it. Celesteela goes down to Life Orb recoil damage, and it's Raichu versus Umbreon and Magnezone. Fox wins at this point. Umbreon protects, Raichu Thunderbolts the zone. It brings it down to 14 HP, so a critical hit would have won for Pops. And Magnezone Flash Cannons a Raichu, and that's how it officially ended. Game 3. So, Jax, I'm going to go to you first. What do you got on this set? I thought it was amazing.
This one was, once again, it left me wanting a little bit because
like Suicide Squad 1?
Game 1, Fox called the fact that he was going to switch in the Raichu again, right, to nullify the Max Lightning. But he ended up trying it anyway because if you don't try it, you kind of look like a goober, even though he switched in and it was a blown move anyway.
Yeah.
And seeing how important that was Game 1, for Game 3, for Pops to not have brought that Raichu in until the very end, to me was a complete throw.
It was crazy.
It was absolutely nuts. Magnezone was the easy MVP because it was handling everything that it needed to. It was getting the analytic boost. It's already super defensive. When Max can build its defenses up and still hits like a truck, especially in terrain.
I like the way you
You
said
know what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it wasn't levitate. I think its balloon was popped.
Analytic. So if it goes
I mean,
last, it
it's
does
hitting
more damage.
literally everything like a Mack truck. So for him not to, for Pops not to try to counter that a little bit earlier with the Raichu and try to be able to target that down possibly,
You
was
got to get
really
that thing off the court as soon as
mind
possible.
boggling for me to see it in Game 3. But really well played by Fox. I think he had it quite in hand. He knew what he needed to do after Game 2, and he planned it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt, what you got on this one? Matt? You there? All right. So I guess Matt. Oh, there you are.
I can't really hear him though.
Sound check 1, 2. Matt. Ooh. All right. So this happens sometimes Discord where it acts weird. Matt, if you could hear me, I would say disconnect and try to reconnect. And that's the best bet. Yeah, disconnect, give it like 10 seconds, try to reconnect. But this is an awesome battle. Nah, no, I don't hear him. Yeah, so he disconnected from the chat. I'm gonna wait until he reconnects, see if it works. Sound check 1 2 1 2.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
We absolutely can
you're
hear
back.
you. And what do you think of this match, Pops versus Fox? Tell us your opinion. I can't wait to hear it.
So, shout out to both competitors. I haven't really watched many Fox matches, and I should.
You should.
I
You
do know
absolutely should.
Fox just from just in passing. I mean, he's in a lot of the same kind of chats I'm in. Very good VGC player. Pops, he's a different cat. I enjoy Pops. Like he's just an all around great guy.
I
He's
agree.
definitely competitive. You can the way he approaches things. And when he sent me his pokey paste, I was like, okay, this looks very interesting. I wanted to pick his brain though. Like in the very beginning, like starting out in the league, I didn't want to push back on things, but I'm like, you know what? Whenever I send someone a pokey paste, the first thing out of their mind is like, well, what are you gonna do for this? What are you gonna do for that? So that's what I wanted to do to Pops. So it's like, all right, Pops, well, this looks good on paper, but what are you gonna do if this happens? Like, what is your plan? And he didn't hesitate to answer any of those. Every time I asked a question, he would answer back. I'm like, okay, so he knows exactly what he wants to do, but obviously I'm not, you know, I'm not on Fox's level. So, it was a really good game to watch. Obviously game 3, just very enjoyable. And like I said, you hate to see someone lose this type of match.
Dude, crazy. Crazy match. But do we got anything else before we go into Pokemon of the Week? Because I think, spoiler alert, we're actually going to be talking about this match again because it was the Magnezone. It was Fox's Magnezone. Amazing. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. So, Jax, can you tell us what you got on Pokemon of the Week this week?
I mean, it was pretty. If you go back and watch the match, it's pretty self-explanatory. The main Pokemon that Fox used to be able to win was that very Magnezone. He used it to the best that I think it can be used. As far as its ability, being able to get its analytic boost off, knowing its the speed tiers that he was getting forced into and getting himself into. And when he didn't make that the focal point of his team, he lost that second game. So I definitely I think that it was my easy pick for Mon of the Week, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was actually having trouble. I wanted to pick a Pokemon on a losing team, and I was like, I can't do that. So,
Yeah,
like,
I was almost there too.
I wanted. Which one did you want to pick?
Huh?
I wanted to pick one of the KD's Pokemon. I wanted to pick. I forget who now. For Pokemon of the Week, and I was like, I can't pick a KD Pokemon, just because I like the what's it called? First half. I'm super distracted. I'm sorry. -3. All right. So I'm gonna release my bets over here. I'm in on the Cowboys. -3.5 first half, -3. Let's fucking go, Cowboys. All right. I just placed my bets. But yeah, no, I thought this was this was well played. It was hard to pick Pokemon of the Week. I didn't do honorable mentions because I was like, I could just pick like 3 Pokemon. I would just pick the kill leaders. So let's get into the kill leaders. So we have a 3-way tie. Yeah, we have a 3-way tie for kill leaders with 6 KOs. Anti's Dragapult, Fox's Magnezone, Pops' Celesteela. So 2 out of 3 of the kill leaders were on losing teams, which I found interesting. Then we had Koji Celesteela, which is the only coach with 5 KOs. And then we had a 3-way tie for third with Koji's Croc, Katie's Lele, and Behaney's Blastoise. So Matt, I'm gonna go to you first on this one. What do you got for the kill leaders? Anything surprise you? Anything stick out?
Nothing really at this point, to be honest. Nothing's really surprising me. Really good guys who know who their main focal point is on all their teams. It's like I'm putting 3 or 4 moves on this mod because I know it can attack, most of the team, if not all the team. The Celesteela I knew was going to kind of go into work. Um, the
Yeah.
Dragapult obviously was a very big concern for Koji, and not surprised with the kill leader. Magnezone, you said Magnezone, right? 6 kills.
Yep.
Yeah, Magnezone is just one of those mons. I mean, very Magnezone was a big part of like the early, I guess, VGC kind of look back in like Series 4 or whatever it honestly, I guess it got its just due. But yeah, not really surprised about these kill leaders.
Crazy. And Jax, you got anything on the kill leaders?
No, like Matt said, that pretty much makes sense. The makeup of these Pokemon and how strong they are and the way they can be used. You make any one of these. Um, the ones that got 6, 5, or 4 kills. You obviously, if you want to, and you make these Pokemon a focal point of your team, they're just gonna rack up kills. It's what they do.
All right, and before we go on to the next part, so I took out predictions, guys, because I was like, hey, it was only me and Jax that participated, so not a lot of the people participated in the predictions. And before we get in, who do you think is going to score the first touchdown tonight?
It's Philly and Dallas, right?
Yep.
So
CD Lamb.
I'm a big football guy. You got CD Lamb?
Yeah.
I think that. Well, honestly, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts runs in for like a 10-yard game. I think the Eagles, the first drive, I think they're going to look really crisp. But at the end of the game, they're just going to look like, all right, what the hell's going on here?
I'm going to bet 15 on 4 players. I'm going to bet 15 on CD Lamb. I'm going to bet 15 on Jalen Hurts. I'm going to bet 15 on Devontae Smith and 15 on Dak Prescott. Boom goes the dynamite.
I hope you make your money.
So 15 to win 105 if Lamb wins. Hurts is 120. Smith is 150. Prescott's 180. Let's fucking go. Ertz, he's back this week. Well, I got Devontae Smith or if Ertz scores. All right, fuck. Ertz. All right. So now we're getting into the next part, which is the week 3 playoff matches. If Ertz scores and I don't bet him, I'm going to fucking, I won't say harm myself. Be very mad at myself. All right. Hurts, Smith, Pollard. I don't even see him on the list. What? He's not even on the list, dude. Any other player is only plus 250. So I'm not going to bet Ertz. No touchdown scored is plus 12,000. That's awesome. Imagine no touchdown scored.
Be a free game or a 9-6 game.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so I'm glad I can't bet Zach Ertz. All right, on to the playoff matches. Week 3, we see this is so right now. Our guys got a chance to win $20 or $50 at minimum. You know, isn't Ertz a backup to Goddard? Yeah, Goddard's plus 1,500, so he's right there with Dak Prescott. Tony Pollard scoring wouldn't surprise me either. Dawson Schultz is plus 2,000. Crazy. But then, so yeah, we got Behaney versus Koji, which is going to be like, I think the match of the week. But the other one's a very good match of the week, too. So that's a match of the week candidate, too. So I don't know if I can definitively say this one's match of the week or the other one's match of the week, but this is match of the week in probably someone's mind. And I'm excited to see this one. I'm very excited. This is match of the week in my mind. Yeah, I'm calling it. I'm officially stamping it match of the week in my opinion. We took a roundabout way to get there, but we got there in the end. Koji versus Behaney. They've been talking about it all season. They've been prepping together all season. They're amazing people. I can't wait to see what they do. And they're going to put on a show for us. If it's pre-recorded, if it's live, I don't give a fuck. I hope we get to see it. And I can't wait for this one. So, guys, let's look at the rosters. And who do you got in this one? Jax, I'll go to you first. I'm not going to write them down. This is just for fun. I'm helping him prep this week.
Well, I literally just flipped the coin, and it was Koji.
So Koji's going to win because the coin said so. And Matt, do you want to make a prediction on this one?
I don't. I really don't. All I know is I'm going to do my best to help Koji as much as possible.
Good luck.
I'm putting 110% into making sure I beat Koji's ass every single time this week when we're in prep, so he understands that I am the win. I don't want to give him any cupcake games. I will say that just because we already played, just because he played Ant, I looked at Anti's team and I put Thunder on his Clefable because he had a rain team with Pelipper and Kingdra. And during one of our preps, I hit his Pelipper with Clefable to kind of win the game. He's like, I can't see Clefable having Thunder. I'm like, dude, it's there. You have rain. I'm
Lightning
going to show
in the
you things
thunder.
that was
No,
that?
no, I'm just singing that lightning in the thunder song.
Yeah. So once you get rain up, it's 100% accurate in rain. So I'm like, if he dares bring rain, like Lefable has Thunder for a reason,
Thunder.
and I just want to be able to give him. Yeah, I don't want to give him too many looks, because I don't want him to think about too much stuff. But I'm gonna stick to the game plan. I'm gonna show him maybe 2 or 3 different teams from Behaney, and we're just gonna go from there. We're gonna ride it out. I got to get Koji this win.
So you're
Because
going
I
to
think
have
he
to show
deserves it.
more than 2 to 3 teams. I think Koji's going to take the win, and we're going to have a new champion in this GBDL. I think Jade's going to take the win on the other side, and I think it's going to be Koji versus Jade in the finals. I'm announcing it now, and I hate to spoil it. But I'm excited. But I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to see what happens. And I think Koji's going to win this one and be a new champion. What did I tell you, Professor Koji? He achieved. So they talked about who I was going to pick, I guess. I feel special now. Ooh. But yeah, I'm picking Koji. So Behaney actually said earlier this season he's pick against him now because every time I pick against him, he wins. So this is going to be interesting. But I'm really excited. But let's get into the next bracket. We got Jade versus Fox. The 4 versus the 2. Wait. So we got the 1 and the 2. Oh, and then the 4 and the 2. I thought we had a 3 over there. What, am I the kiss of death? I told him everyone would pick him. Yeah, no, I'm the kiss of death, I guess. If we pick him, he's excited. And Jay with the done and done, I love it. Done and done. Yeah, no, I am the kiss of death. If I pick you, it's not great usually. So, all right. So we got Jade versus Fox and Jax. I'm gonna go to you first. Who do you got in this one?
I just flipped the coin again, and it came back as Fox. So I guess that's what I'm going with. Honestly, all these matches are
A flip of
toss
the
ups to
coin.
me anyway. These guys play so level. You know what I mean? Obviously, Koji and Behaney, they prep together all season. They know each other's teams in and out. You got to know them in and out already because you've had to study them each week to prep for them, to figure out what other people can do against them, which makes that extremely difficult to predict against. Wow, that's a piece of shit. That was just a jalopy truck.
What happened?
A really beat ass truck went by, and it was loud as hell. But and then in the other side, I find it hilarious that Fox and Jade were the 2 lowest rated teams that were in our entire conference or entire division, and those 2 are the 2 that are playing each other.
Who made these rankings?
Out of like the power rankings and stuff like that at the beginning of the season, the preseason after the draft.
So everyone that did the power rankings.
The people that made power rankings and came out with stuff um like we were all talking during the draft about how bad the teams looked and how unsynergized they looked and everything like that.
Crazy. And now look
And
who's left.
they were all rated really really low, and now they're in the conference finals. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me. I'm excited to see all these games happen, and I'm excited to see how crazy close it's going to be, and who comes out. It's going to be an awesome watch.
I can't wait. And now Behaney's just saying Behaney messing with Koji. And now I'm laughing at the idea of Koji's fiance proposing. That'd be funny. And yeah, no, I think I was ranked like pretty high in the beginning of the season because I started 4-1. No, I started 3-1 before I lost 5 straight. So you never know. But Matt, who do you got in this one?
So I didn't play Fox this year. I played Jade, and that was so nerve wracking because I wanted to beat Jade because I knew if I lost to him, I kind of left it up to the gods to get me into the playoffs. But I enjoyed my game against Jade. Jade is a really good player. He has some fun stuff, but he definitely sticks to his tried and true. but at the same time, Fox has just a really solid team. His team is pretty bulky. So it's definitely going to be interesting because I don't know. Looking at it on paper right now, if Trick Room goes up for Jade, does Jade have the advantage? Because I honestly don't know if he actually has the advantage if Trick Room goes up.
I don't know, man. They're both so slow. And now Behaney's gonna win Best Man if he wins today, or when they play this week. So that's huge.
My question is, if Fox, if you see without looking at who wins this game, if you see
Okay.
on paper that Fox maxes Pikachu, do you think Fox wins this series or loses?
Well, Rhyperior is the only thing that could stop that unless he max Surfs or whatever. Or Grass Knot. Right? Fuck. Crazy, man. Yeah, I wanted to see Dynamax Pikachu all fucking year.
I know we've been waiting for it, so maybe he finally pulls it out. Maybe I might be spoiling something. So
That'd be crazy.
Don't
Just
kill me,
spoiled the
Fox.
track, Matt.
I know. Look at me, like I feel like a piece of shit.
Now he's not going to bring it.
I know. Well, listen,
If
we did
you
see
took away
Bullfish.
Dynamax Pikachu from us, shame on you, Matt. No, I'm kidding.
I know. We did see Bullfish in the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Quillfish did make an appearance. Quillfish made an
Yeah.
appearance and intimidated the shit out of Snom.
So yeah, no, I mean, honestly, you guys think Koji and Behaney is match of the week? I
Yeah.
think Jade and Fox is match of the week.
I
Now,
knew it.
this
I
is why
knew
I
it.
say
Yes. Huzzah.
this
We
yeah,
have
this
two
is why
match of the weeks.
because this Behaney and Koji match, they know each other too well to the fact where I think it's going to be a lot of pivoting. I think it's just it's going to be a good game, but I think it's going to be very drawn out and very boring. With uh, Fox and Jade, we don't know what to expect. So I'm just gonna grab my popcorn like the Michael Jackson picture, and I'm just gonna sit there and just say, you know what, whatever happens, happens.
I wish I had popcorn in here. And Jax, you got anything else on this one?
No.
Yeah, so I think that just about does it for the show today. So, thank you. Good luck to our final four, our last four competitors. Shit. Yeah, no, Monday Night Football is about to start. I'm going to go eat second dinner. And then I forgot to post this on Saturday, so I'll post, last week's thing to YouTube at some point this week, maybe Wednesday or Friday. And I'll try to post this show on there's a YouTube video on Behaney's page that says otherwise. Oh, so if he posted the recap show, amazing. But yeah, so what's it called? I'm gonna post this on Saturday, and done and done. I appreciate each and every one of you. Section 11. Now I'm lost, but I love it. All right, so again, good luck to our last four, the final four, 444. And Jax, do you got anything else to say before we sign off?
No, that's it, man. Good luck to everybody. Hope all the matches are great, all the hacks is fair, and all the games are really, really close. And I hope to see everybody next week so we talk about who's in the finals and how these two matches went.
Exactly. And Matt, you got anything else to say? Thank you for joining us so last minute. I appreciated your
Yeah,
input.
well, I wanted to get on the show. I mean, you guys have been like rock stars this whole entire season. I mean, if I
Flattered.
was I mean, if I was
Flattered.
worse than how I am, if I was worse than how I am at playing Pokemon, I would stick around just because I can watch this weekly. This is kind of like my Skip Bayless first take with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith back in the day. But it's just enjoyable watching you guys just kind of recap each week. I mean, it definitely gives a different feel. I said this before. I mean, you guys do a phenomenal job.
Thank you, man.
It's different. It makes it feel important. I'm not saying it's not important, but it definitely kind of raises the stakes where it's like, we're putting the spotlight on you guys. Like, are you guys going to show up or not? So the conference finals is exciting.
So exciting.
You know,
I can't wait.
I'm just expecting really good games going down the line.
Dude, thank you so much. That's so flattering. I'm flattered, and I couldn't have done this without Jax. So Jax, thank you so much again. I try to say that as much as possible because I don't always act it because I'm usually a little, CBD'd. And today, shout out Modelo Especial. Shout out Tall Boys. But yeah, man, I'm flattered, and
So
yeah.
wait, one more thing before we get off. Tom, when are you going to do the coaches circle? I think we need to have a coaches circle where at the end of the season you pick maybe 3 or 4 coaches, maybe 2 out of the week, maybe twice once during the week, and just talk about like their mindset of their draft and how they think their season did and what they think they're going to do next year.
So Matt, this was not planned. This feels planned. I was talking to my artist today about the layout. I was trying to get horizontal boxes for my camera instead of vertical. But I gave her the dimensions she needed and she's making me my layout. And I'm gonna start doing the coaches interviews probably not for this season. Maybe in the off season I'll try to have everyone on just talk about what happened last season. But then maybe next season, like current season stuff. Me and Tyros did it. We had so much fun doing it. He's in Japan. Shout out Japan. Shout out Tyros. Shout out the Marines. Amazing. But like, hoorah. Like, so I can't wait to bring that back. So that's coming back. I want to make it a big deal. I want to invest in it before just doing it, So I want to have the layout. I'm going to need everyone to get Skype or some shit to like have me easily if you want to be on video. If you don't want to be on video, then I'll put like a profile picture in that box or something, you know? And just make it the dimensions I need it. And yeah, so I want to make it look legit when I post it to YouTube. And I have no idea how to post it to Spotify or Apple iTunes podcast. So if anyone knows how to do that, let me know. Or it's probably just going to be a YouTube show where I would love to make it a podcast. So it might be on SoundCloud in the future. Holy shit, my eyes closed. Okay, so yeah, but I'm really excited for that, Matt. Like I'm very excited for that. And it's in the works. My artist has been busy. She was at some music festival. So now she's like, I have you in my schedule for the 28th. And the 28th came around today. She's like, what box sizes do you need? And I sent her the information. She's working on it to make it the similar design as this. Because she's the one that made this background with the jungle mushroom theme, with the neon boxes and everything like that. So I said, hey, I want it to be similar, a similar style. Because I like this background. I like having the video game in here too. Because if I want to make the video game bigger, I could always make it bigger. But I feel like this is a good size. you know and then you can see
Yeah,
the chat. i
yeah,
have
no, that's
i have everyone in the chat. I want you to feel part of the stream too, so that's why I made the chat a big box bigger than my big fat face. So like, I appreciate you asking that because that's in the works. It is. And it's probably going to line up in the next few weeks. Like, not, I don't know when exactly. I
yeah.
Yeah, you know what, I don't want to put a date on it because I have no idea when. So
Well,
coming
yeah,
soon.
absolutely. Well,
Coming soon.
so just like the famous Kendrick Lamar said, "Be patient, brother."
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because I don't want to announce something and not have it ready. I want to have all my ducks in a row so that when we are ready to shoot, we're ready to shoot. You know what I'm saying? That's probably not
Yeah,
the most
and
kosher reference.
yeah, but no, I appreciate the time. I appreciate actually having time to get on this call, and if we do this same time next week, I would definitely love to join, especially to talk about potential finals. So
I,
good luck, Koji. Good luck, Haney. Good luck, Fox. Good luck, Jade. Shout out to all the competitors, and thank you for this community. I mean,
yeah, shout out
I wasn't
Behaney.
expecting this for me to be as involved as I was, but I've loved every single minute of it.
Dude, I'm so, like, I love hearing that too because I feel the same way. I feel the absolute same way. And again, I probably care way too much about this like draft league and putting on this show and doing these streams, but I have a blast with it. It really is a lot of fun. So shout out Behaney for curating this community. Shout out United for inviting me. And then shout out like each and every one of you for participating each and every week because it's not the same without each and every one of you. Every season's a completely different season because of the different guys, the different cast of characters. So like, it's amazing to see, and I'm so happy you joined and found your, place here, man. I'm
And
so happy.
and I want to make a special announcement. I will be back for next season.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm coming back. I hope I have a seat at the table if D Handy's willing to deal with me again next year. But I will be back as long as you guys will have me back.
You know what? I'll throw that out there too. I was thinking about taking a season off for the LSATs, but I'm not anymore. I will definitely 100% be back in this league. I don't know about high roller. I think I bit off a little more than I could chew with that one. I mean, I might need to just invest my time in getting good at this one instead of splitting my time in two of them. So I think I'm 100%. Yeah, no, I'm 100% CPDL applying, 50% applying to high roller. I don't know yet. Depends if I keep winning bets like I did last night. Let's go, Cowboys. Let's go first touchdown, any of the four players we bet. But on that note, I'm going to end the stream here, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you again. And I'm going to try to get the subscriber count back up. Something happened in the viewer count. It just went off stream. So I got to go look into that and how I can make that better. But we're really close to the giveaway. So we're at 87 gifted subs and subs. So at 100, we're going to give away one Vivid Voltage box. We're going to open 3 of them. And then what's it called? At and we're 8 followers away from 100. So thank you everyone, and I'm gonna end the stream here.